when you have a vision, when you have a directive and a direction in which you want to go, you move different. I say when you have a purpose, you move with purpose. You move with intention. And so that's how I was able to escape the matrix, and in which I was, forced to reckon with. At first I was surrounded by violence. I was surrounded by casualties. I was surrounded by, you know, womanizers, and I was surrounded by all that. But again, my dream, my vision, my goal kept me focused.
What up, everybody? It's your boy JK. Today is Thursday, so you already know what it is. It's Tackle Thursday with JK live on IG. And today I got a special guest. My special guest for tonight hails from the crib. And if you're from the crib, you know the crib is Fort Lauderdale, Florida. You may know him as one of the best basketball players to ever go and play at Delphi Beach High School. If you're from Texas, Beaumont, Texas to be exact, then you may know him as a former D1 basketball player from Lamar University. And if you're an avid reader, then you may know him as the author of the books Leverage and The Game That Mirrors Life. And if you see so many similarities in him. We both wore number 20 when we played basketball at Deerfield Beach High School. He all about speaking life and having a vision. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all help me welcome our special guest, Marcus Owens. Oh, yo, what they do, bro?
Man, what's up, man? How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, chilling, man. Everything good?
Yeah, man, everything good, man. I'm excited to be on, man. This is long overdue.
Hey, long overdue for real, man. Twan hit me up, but I say probably about a year ago, bro. And
Yeah, cause
he was like, yeah, he hit me up about a year ago. He was like, man, it was like, bro, I'm telling you, bro, I got a guest, somebody you can bring on. I think it'll be dope. And how I be moving, man, is like, I be like, okay, he linked me up. So then I get to know you a little bit. Then I see you, what you dropping, what you spitting out. And then as I'm thinking, because the topic I was going, really do, man, is like speaking life. Because like when I see you and you dropping these gems, I'm like, hey, that boy, he about speaking life. You know what I mean?
for
And
sure.
so, but then I did more research on you, see your name, and you all about vision. So, man, that's what we're gonna tackle tonight. But before we get there, man, just like for those that's watching live, that's listening live, that's gonna see this on replay, man, on YouTube, listen to it on the podcast, man. I know I introduced you a little bit, man, but tell the people who you are, where you're from, man, and what you do, man.
For sure. My name Marcus Owens, man. I come from a small part of the city, Sunland Park, to be exact. Come from humble beginnings. It was very, it was tough, coming up from where I was from on the city side, and I developed a callous mind early on. And basketball was my escape. Basketball was something that I knew could kind of propel me out of those slums and out of the trenches. And so, I always wanted more for myself. I always wanted that context shift. I always wanted to get exposed to more. I knew I was different, and so I kind of clinged on to basketball, and basketball did that for me. And so, I got that opportunity through sheer hard work and determination. Obviously my mom, she wanted me to kind of get away from my home, my hometown, and so I went down to Deerfield, and I played 4 years basketball there. Kind of gleaned and grew within the process. You're probably familiar with Coach Brown and Coach Glenn, and all of them. Those guys kind of took me under their wing and kind of helped me become that Division I basketball player. You know what I mean? But before I really got into that, I was really prepared for that. That's one thing I can honestly say, that I was prepared for the Division I system before I even got there, the way they ran their system. And so, I went down to Lamar under Pat Knight, Bob Knight, the infamous Bob Knight, his son, Pat Knight. And so, I went down there, got exposed to more, got that, that Texas culture in me, built a lot of relationships down there. Eventually got my degree in corporate communications. And I came back home. Dabbled and dabbled in a lot of different things, man. But I'm kind of jumping the gun. Let me rewind back a little bit. Well, we'll get into that. But,
Yeah. You good, bro? You good?
We'll get into that. But yeah, man, that's kind of my story in a condensed version, for sure.
Now, for sure, man, and and it's crazy. Like it's like I said, man. Even more similarities, bro. Like so, I'm not from Deerfield,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
I grew up in Fort Lauderdale.
Mhm.
I used to live in Lauderdale, so
Okay.
and I know, and we used to rock the Sunland remix song. Sunland.
For sure. For
Hey,
sure.
so we were jamming that. I know I'm much older than you, but we was rocking that thing though. But then I moved to North Lauderdale, so I never lived
Mhm.
in Deerfield. Was in Fort Lauderdale, man, the whole time. And then the magnet program, so that's how I ended
Mhm.
up at Deerfield, man. So
Yeah.
I could see, you know, I know how it is, man. So like I want to know like how was that like growing up, living in the area, but then going to a school where none of your local friends really, were. How was that though?
It was a blessing in disguise, man. At first, I ain't like it because, just commuting from Lauderdale to Deerfield was just strictly just I'm down there for basketball in school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Outside of the parameters of that, I wasn't really doing anything. I couldn't really get into it with the girls or nothing like that. I had,
yeah,
I was forced to be focused in that
yeah.
regard, and that helped a lot, man. But just the whole process within that, I used to wake up 4:30 every morning. You know what I mean?
Mm,
4:30. Get dressed, get prepared, get to my bus stop 5:15, and shoot down to school, get there by 6:30. You know what I mean? And I did that for 4 years while I played basketball. So sometimes we have a 9 o'clock practice. We won't get home till 11:30, 12,
yeah.
and I got to do that all over again.
Mm.
And so just that it was a strenuous process, but I stayed motivated and it paid off, man. It yielded great dividends for sure.
Nah, for sure, man. So I know for me, growing up before a lot of that, my grandma used to take us to Dilla games, right? So
Mm.
growing up, I'm thinking I'm going to Dilla. So like, I'm interested to know like what schools like where did you think like were you thinking that you was gonna go to any schools before a lot of the BA Piper, you know what I'm saying, Dilla, or you knew from like you said your mom wanting you to go and get away, man. Were there any other schools you thought you might go to like in the city?
Um, um, God bless the dead Coach Rock, man. Coach Rock used to come sit on my
Mm,
grandma's porch, and he sat on my
right.
porch and talked about, hey man, like we could use you, and Coach Wright. I'm sorry, Coach Rock, Coach Wright too, Coach
Yeah,
W. Wright. Shout out to him, but Coach Rock, I had a deep reverence for him, man. He was well respected in the basketball realm,
for
and
sure.
so for him to come do that, it was cool, but um schools other than that, like the BAs and the Pipers, and I didn't have aspirations of going to those schools, and so just kind of being compelled to go to Deerfield, I
Yeah,
think that was the move because I was under Coach Brown and Coach Glenn, guys that were from Fort Lauderdale that
yeah,
were just working in Deerfield, so I
yeah.
felt at home, you know what I mean, for
Mm.
sure.
Yeah, nah, it's crazy, man. Coach Rock was like family to me, man. Cause my uncle used to coach on the Coach Burrow staff. My
Mhm.
uncle used to coach in that. So Rock used to come around the family. So I definitely know you talk
Yeah.
about that. And so when you say, when you now I went to Deerfield before you, right? So
Mhm.
now Coach Randa had already won a state at Deerfield, and he
Mhm.
went on to Ely. Coach Battle, I know he's still coaching in the city. I thought he worked at Piper, but I don't know where he coaching at now, man. But make a long story short, my sophomore year, bro, we lost every game. We went on 22, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Ah.
And so we struggled, but we were playing young. We had a team like full of sophomores, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So we going against Dilla BA, Ely, who like heavy laden with seniors. And fast forward, like we got better, but when y'all boys got there,
Yeah.
y'all boys like took it to a whole new level with Coach Brown, Coach Glenn. Like, how was your experience? I know you talked about it a little bit, but how was it playing basketball at Deerfield, and what were some of the highlights of your high school career, man, as a basketball player?
Man, Deerfield was great. Deerfield was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me. I'm gonna be honest. Like I'm gonna be raw and uncut with it. Just the way they ran their system, just who they were as individuals. They were
Yeah,
hardcore. They were hard nosed. Coach Brown, if you know him, you love him. You know what I mean? And you know that he's one of the most loyal people out there. And if he don't like it, he don't mind you not knowing that, or you knowing that he don't like
yeah,
it. You know what I'm saying? So with that, just so I learned so much from him and that coaching staff. They were very selfless. They imparted a lot of knowledge to me. Like I said, they prepared me for the rigors of college. Like I said,
Yeah.
I went to college, man. I was 17 when I stepped on campus. I was 1,100 miles away from home. I couldn't sign any documents. I had to fax everything home to my mom for her to
Dang.
sign. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And but I was prepared mentally though. You know, I was prepared mentally, like from, just working out in the hot gym, from, just him giving me constructive criticism, him teaching me the difference between constructive criticism and destructive criticism. And I feel like
Yeah.
kids these days, man, it is, you can't coach him that way. And just seeing like his coaching style, it's taken a huge shift because of how the kids are these days. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I kind of play with him and, hey man, you done got soft, man. Like,
Hey.
you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
yeah, man, he definitely pivoted in that, that arena. Obviously he's matured more. Since he coached me, he's learned a lot. He's more patient. But at the end of the day, like I said, I learned so much, man, and just who he was, what he was able to accomplish as a player. And I tell people, there's people that know of the game, and then there's people that live the game. I want to learn from the people that live the game, And he played at the highest level, NBA tryouts, overseas, killed. I got a deep reverence for that guy, man.
Dang. Hey, I'm over here soaking it up because I didn't know. Like, so
Yeah.
when Coach Brown was at South Plant, when I was in school, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I seen him, and I knew when we played against South Plant or we went to a tournament or something like that's where I see him from. So I didn't even know he played pro and
Yeah.
had that success. So
Yeah.
so that's definitely a blessing, man. And the fact, because I believe as a high school coach, that's what you're supposed to do, even as
Mm-hmm.
an educator, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
you are now, right?
Yeah.
Back at
Absolutely.
Deerfield.
Yeah. Back at Deerfield, man.
So I believe like it's our job to prepare our scholars for what's next. Not where they are, but where they're going. Like, yeah, we
Mm-hmm.
can talk about preparing them for where they are, but they not gonna be in high school but only 4 years. And depending on when you get there, you might have a scholar for 8 months if they're a
Mm-hmm.
senior. So you really
Absolutely.
preparing them for where they're going. So salute to Coach Brown and Coach Glenn and everybody on that staff that prepared you mentally,
For
dog,
sure.
because that's the biggest thing, man. So you say you got on campus at 17. Like, was it like your
17.
birthday? When your birthday?
My birthday August, and as
Okay.
hoopers, we had to be on campus like June, July. So
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
on
Yeah.
campus and I couldn't sign nothing. My eyes big.
Yeah.
I'm like a
Yeah.
deer in the, you know what I'm saying? So it's like it was definitely a culture shock initially
Yeah.
because people in Beaumont they love the game of basketball. They have a deep reverence for the team. Now, and that was like a double edged sword because you know, you're under the microscope. Everything you do is magnified. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And on the other side of that, they show you so much love. They have these high expectations for you.
Yeah.
They have a good fan club, a good booster club. Um, Playing in the Montaigne Center was amazing. We seated like 10,000 people, and
Yeah.
on a good day we had about 4,000 or 5,000 just sitting there cheering us on. And
That's
so
what.
coming from where I'm from Sunland Park, man. So
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
and being implanted in that environment, that was amazing, man. That was a great experience. I want that for all the kids in the inner cities and
Yeah.
in urban communities. You know what I mean? And so that's why it's so important for me to get back into the classroom. I tell my kids that right now I'm teaching intensive reading, ACT, SAT prep, and
Okay.
things of that nature. And so again, what you said, like we're preparing our kids for future. We want to align them with their passions and what they're intrigued by right now in current junctions and how they can endorse that moving forward. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's my main objective, man, and just being that light, man, and being
Definitely.
for sure, and
Yeah.
being somebody that you know that was sitting right where they were sitting, and
Literally.
you know what I mean. And so now we go off and we do these things, and then we come back and hey, this is how I got the blueprint. This is
Yeah.
how you get to where I
For
was,
sure.
and this is how you exceed, where I went,
Yeah.
So
No. When I'm listening to you, because I know you come in the classroom, you a celebrity. You know what I'm saying? Because
for
I know that
sure.
in YouTube, because our generation different. You feel me? Like when people used to come talk to us, and you're a little younger, but you still kind of in my same age range. But when people used to come talk to us, we used to have to take them for their word. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Now you come in there, hey, yeah, man, I used to hoop, man. I used to ball, Lamar
For
University.
sure.
And they said, okay, what's your name, man? Marcus Owens. All right, then, coach. They come back the next day. Hey, is this you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They
For
put up
sure.
your
For sure.
highlights on YouTube. They like, hold on, this you, Mr. Kellem. Like, yeah, man. So, but it makes them, I feel like it lets them know, like, yo, you came from here
Yeah.
and you went there. So if you did that, that means I could do that. I could go even further, right?
Exactly.
So that's
Exactly.
definitely a blessing, man. How did you like? What made you? Did you always want to be a teacher? Like, what got you into education?
To be honest, man, like I always had great rhetorical skills. Like I got published in the fourth grade. My narrative essay got published in the fourth grade, and my fourth grade teacher, Miss Eartha Skinner here, God bless the dead. She saw me for everything that I am today. Like everything that I'm doing today, she seen me as that in the fourth grade. And that's the thing, man. You have people who are these ultimate visionaries, man, who can see you before you see you. You know what I'm saying? And oftentimes I believed in her belief in me, and so that was huge, man. And like I said, before I could even fathom, like, now I'm a writer and this and this and this, she already was gleaning and preparing me for that. And so I had one of the highest writing scores in elementary school in the fourth grade. It was like I was the top two. And
Yeah,
so, we kind of paraded and celebrated at that. But, from there, I just build on it, man. Because, again, where I'm from, being a writer, being, somebody that, was very intelligent, that wasn't really something that people, had
celebrate
have
it.
right. They didn't
Yeah,
celebrate. They didn't have a deep reverence for that. And so I, I clinged on to the thing that people, was celebrating me for, and that was basketball. You know what I mean? But you know, I've been had it in me to be a leader, to be an inspirer,
yeah,
influencer. You know what I mean? I'm a leader by nature, and so I just kind of see how I can build on that incrementally on a daily basis.
for sure, man, for sure. And the crazy thing, because we got to talk. I ain't even get to, but you just reminded me about the vision aspect. But
For
and it's
sure.
so important, man, because that's I'm about to drop a video tomorrow about vision. How like what made me say, okay, I'm gonna pursue being a professional speaker for real. And it was because somebody after one of my speaking engagements down there in Broward at the Reitman Club, after I got done speaking, the dude walked up to me and said, "Man, I see your passion." I'm like,
Mm.
"What?" He
I
like,
see it.
he
I
said,
see
"I
it.
see." He said, "I see your passion, bro." I'm
Yeah.
driving home, racking my brain. I'm like, "I see your passion. I see your passion." And then boom, I was like, "All right, I'm about to take it serious." Like, and I knew something was in me, but it just took him to say and tap into the unrealized potential that was already in me.
For sure.
And
For
so that's
sure.
how I see us as educators, and that's how I got to the topic today that we tackling, got vision,
I love it,
because
man.
I started doing your researching, and I seen you said the ultimate visionary, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
For
like, and
sure.
he speak life. I'm like, okay, he all about vision. So
All
we
about
tackling the
business.
topic of the day, right? The Tackle Thursday with JK podcast, the self help podcast for young adults who are working to establish and solidify a foundation in areas of their lives, such as their career, relationship status, marriage, or role as a parent, right? And so when we talk about vision, we need a vision in every area of our lives, right? We need to see where we're going. Like, so what does it mean to my young adults out there? Listen up to Marcus. What does it mean to you, bro, to have a vision, and why is it important for you to have a vision?
For me, a vision guides you, man. Your choices and decisions. Like when you have a vision, when you have a directive and a direction in which you want to go, you move different. I say when you have a purpose, you move with purpose. You move with intention. And so that's how I was able to escape the matrix, and in which I was, forced to reckon with. At first, I was surrounded by violence. I was surrounded by casualties. I was surrounded by, you know, womanizers, and I was surrounded by all that. But again, my dream, my vision, my goal kept me focused. You know what I mean? And so with that, it's just about, establishing something that you're gonna go all out for. You know what I mean? And for me, again, like there was a lot of things that could have deterred me, but I was just so locked in, man, and just so focused on the task at hand, in which I was to go. And so that's what it means to me when it comes to vision. Just
Yeah.
um just seeing something culminate before it actually does. You know, I was looking at an interview with Dame Dash, and he was talking about art detecting, and he was saying that first you establish this vision, and you fast forward to you actually procuring that, being in that position, right? And then you reverse engineer it and say, okay, this is what I have to do. This is everything that I had to endure to get to this position.
Yeah.
And so now he out of his body. He's not in the present moment anymore. He's at the culmination point. And so
Yeah.
he's like, man, dang, this is what I gotta die. This is what I gotta do. I have to do these things every day to get incrementally better. And before soon, I'll reach exponential growth. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of like my thing, man. Just finding something to do to get better every day, and that kind of is compounded within my vision. Because you gotta think about it. People that you went to high school with, 10 years. Well, I've been to high school 10 years ago, and so there were people that were better off than me, and then there were people that were worse off than me.
Yeah.
And depending on what you did day to day, right, that kind of put
Yeah.
you ahead of the people that probably was
Mm-hmm.
better than you, or that
Yeah.
kind of made you sink below the people that you were better than. And
Yeah.
that's why we see people that were probably cool in high school, that was the ish in high school, but they kind of got on a down spurt, right? They
Mm-hmm.
kind of was on a descent because they're
Yeah.
not really disciplined in that regard every day on a daily basis. But you got people who are after it, who get after it every day, and they get incrementally better. And before time, it's like, dang, this person has surpassed me a lot, And so that's kind of like what it means to me, man.
Nah, that's real, man. Hey, that's real because it's like the backwards planning aspect. Like, hey, find out where you want to go,
Mhm.
then backwards plan from there all the way
Mhm.
up to your present day, and then
Exactly.
start. You know what I'm saying? Going at it. And I heard somebody say this, man. When you don't have a vision, then even a distraction could look like an opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
That's
And
heavy.
so it's like, man, if I don't know where I want to go, man, that could look good. That could look
Mhm.
good. That could look good, right? But like you said, because you had a vision, you looked and said, okay, now that's a distraction, right? And even if something was a good opportunity, like, man, that might be good, but that don't align with your vision. And you
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna stay focused on
For
my
sure.
vision. And so that's definitely huge and a blessing, man. And so, man, what would you say going back to college? What would you say, man, was your like greatest memory, man, hooping in college, being a student athlete, man? What was your greatest memory, you think?
Um, the greatest memory of being a hooper, man. Just being forced to juggle a lot, man. Just being forced to manage my time. I feel like I learned a lot of life lessons, like in that realm. Um, a lot of things that I use right now today, like being on time, right? Juggling more than one thing. You know what I mean? And it was times that I was doing work on the plane. You know what I mean? Going to games and stuff like that. And
You
so
already know.
it's finding that balance and that will to get things done, because you got to get it done at the end of the day. It's and how my coach was, it was either you got it done or you didn't. It was no fluff, it was no excuses. He wasn't going for none of that, and so that prepared me, because at the end of the day, you have in life, they look at the end result. Like, did
Yeah,
you get it done, or did or did you let it lapse? And
yeah,
I wrote this in one of my books, man. I used that example for one of the anecdotes I wrote in my book. Like, at the end of, if you set up an interview, right, and this person said, okay, I need you here at this time, you want to get up in an adequate amount of time to surpass traffic and all these things. You can't get there and say, oh, I'm 30 minutes late because traffic.
yeah.
Nah, this was the assigned
You
time
gotta
that I
take that
had.
into account.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And so at the end of the day, it reverts back to, did you get here on time or did you didn't? Or and so that was my thing. And so that's how my coach was in college. And he punished us. He punished us if we didn't deliver. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, there's consequences and ramifications if you fall short. And so I kind of took that away from that, and I apply that to life, and I try to impart that to the kids that I oversee. Like, hey, listen, that limit those excuses. Excuses excuse nothing. You know what I'm saying? Focus on getting the task done at hand. Or getting close to finishing it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
At
And
least,
so,
yeah. Nah,
yeah.
that's real though, man. So you played for a legend, the son of a legend.
Hmm.
How was that? Like, I know you didn't play for Bobby Knight, but like, did you feel like, man, I can see resemblance or what stories that I heard? You know what I'm saying? Just being the disciplinarian and getting the best out of your players. Like, was that your experience? You said Pat Knight, right?
Yeah, Pat. Hey, JK, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, man. I'm gonna be radically transparent with you, and that's one of the reasons why I went there because it was Bob Knight's son, it's Pat
Yeah,
Knight, and this man, I'm in the class, I'm in Coach Brown class, and he
yeah.
called me, he got Bob Knight on the phone, so I'm 17 years
No,
old, and
yeah,
he got Bob Knight. Hey, Marcus is Bob Knight, and I'm about to fall out in class because it's like it's unreal.
yeah,
I'm telling that Paul, man. So
yeah,
this. And so I feel like he wanted to be like his dad, but he didn't have it in him. You know what I mean? And again, he tried to run his system like his dad. But again, too, you got to know your person. You got to know your personnel. You got to know your player. If
yeah,
you don't have the personnel to run what you are accustomed to, and what you've been, what you've extracted from your dad, then you got to pivot.
yeah,
And I think I learned a lot of valuable lessons from him indirectly.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I
yeah. I
mean?
get
I learned indirectly. I learned
yeah,
what not to do. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And for him, um, we didn't have a relationship off the floor, and that
Okay.
affected our play. I would see Pat Knight in the hallway, and we'll be walking in the hallway, and it'll be awkward because I know he's not gonna say nothing to me, and I didn't feel comfortable enough to say nothing to him, so it'll be just awkward, bro. Like we'll be walking and we'll kind of just turn our head or something, and
Yeah,
it's like, and looking back on it, it's like, how could you place it? How could you expect me to fulfill what you want me to do if we don't have that relationship like that? And
yeah.
so,
That's real though.
you know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
as your coach, you should get me to a place where I want to run through a brick wall for you. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And,
Yeah.
and he couldn't figure it out. It was like he didn't understand that. And it's like, you should. You've been around basketball a long time, but it's like he wasn't a people person in that regard. You know what I mean? He knew the game. Very, like he knew the game. He had a good heart, but he just those interpersonal skills, man. I think that's what I extracted from that
Yeah.
tenure because when I went down to Lamar, we went like 3-28 like that year. You know what I mean? And he was like, "Y'all about to get me fired," and da da da. And he eventually got fired. But it's like at the
Yeah.
end of the day, man, I hope he learned something from that, as much as I did because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
learned a ton. Like it was coming from Deerfield, I was used to winning. I was used
Yeah.
to like we lost probably three
Cause
games.
y'all boys, if I am mistaken, y'all boys win the state.
Yeah, we went to state. We lost in the state semis at a
Yeah.
buzzer beater. But before, like, we smashed everything in the
In the
county.
county. Y'all won a Big 8 and all.
Now we lost in the Big Eight. We lost in the Big Eight. We lost to Ely. Ely was the only team that could really, what I'm
That play
saying,
with
kind
y'all.
of
Yeah.
equalize us in
That
the.
rival used to be crazy, bro.
But other than that, we ran through the county, and so I was used to winning. And so when I got to Lamar, that was different. There were times when I because me as a freshman, again, the way I'm programmed, the way I'm wired, I'm giving everything that I got every day,
Yeah.
and to see no progression and to see like, just no results yield from that. It was tough because I'm used to like, whatever I want, I'm working for, and so just I felt like I was on a treadmill in that
Yeah.
phase of my life, just putting in that work, but not really getting any progression. And what's crazy is we had that was the most talented team that I had at Lamar, but that was the worst record that we had,
Yeah.
and it was the mindset, it was the leadership, all those things played a part in that, bro. So I learned a lot. I probably learned a lot like my freshman year and then my senior year. Like I learned a lot because those were like years of transition for me. Like you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so
So, cause you're a young adult, bro. Like young adults, you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of like towards the end of that young adult, but you in that middle, right?
mhm,
So the fact that you said that I was used to things happening for me like that, right? And
mhm,
and it was like the more you work, it still didn't happen, right? And I know it's in the young adult era, that age, that mindset, whether it be your career, relationship status, your goals, your dreams, whatever it is, you could hit that rut as a young adult and be like, man, I'm trying this, I'm trying, it just don't look like I'm making progress. Like, how did you get through that? And what could you say to another young adult that may be in that area, may be going through that in some area of their life? They feel like, man, I'm doing all I can and I still see no progress. And they kind of on that verge of maybe giving up. Like, how did you get through that? And then what would be your advice to somebody to help them get through that?
Again, man, it was tough. Like when you put in that work and no results are being shown, that's tough, But you just got to keep pushing in that regard. And so in that time period, man, there would be times, man, I just go to the room, man, cut off all the lights and just sit in the dark and cry sometimes, bro. I'm gonna be honest. Just sit there and summer. And a lot of people didn't know, man. I was again. I'm 1,100 miles away from home. My
Yeah.
mom wasn't coming to the games. I ain't had no family members down there, so I'm forced to endure this by myself. You know what I mean? And you know, I calloused myself a lot during that phase too. But again, like I stayed at it. I kept going. I kept grinding, man. I kept working. And so, even my coach told me, man, like, look, your results may not show up today or tomorrow, or next month, but it's coming. And when it does, like, continue to do that, to be assertive in that and to own that. You know what I mean? And so that was my whole thing. Like, my whole career, I played and I started over people that were better than me because I outworked them. I know. And, when we had that coaching shift, because Pat Knight got fired and they brought Coach George Tick Price in. And, he was a guy that was already on campus, a basketball guy. I think he was like in admin or something like that. But,
Yeah.
he eventually got around to the game. He brought his coaching staff in. And, they were so fixated on gutting the program and bringing in their guys and stuff like that. So, I challenged the challenge. I'm like, you know what? Because, most kids, when they don't get results like that and you got coaches coming in that's taking that approach, they transfer, they get out of there.
Yeah, they transfer out.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And so for me, I'm like, I'm going to challenge the challenge. And what people don't realize is that when you transfer, like for the transfer, the graduation rate drops. You know what I mean? When you transfer, your chances of graduating is slimmer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I ain't know that, bro.
yeah, you can Google it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like when you transfer, your chances of graduating is slimmer. You know what I mean? And so I didn't know that at the time, but I just know I wasn't running from them. I ain't have no
Yeah.
quit in me. And so by them, I'm wired different by them thinking they finna bring their guys in and just push me to the side. I'm like, nah. They had the opportunity to recruit and bring their own guys in and stuff like that. And so, when they came in, I was after them. You know what I'm saying? And so that's my thing. Don't run from the hard work. Don't run from the grind. Get after it. Make yourself undeniable. That was my thing. And that's what I stick by today. Like if I don't know something, I know how to go find it. If I'm not strong in this area, when I'm by myself, I'm isolated, I'm going to strengthen that weakness. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so that's the thing, man. Just not running from the ground. Continue to push. I know things can get tough. I know things can, get precarious. Things can get like your vision can get impaired, but you just got to stay down, man. Stay down till you come up. And there's an old saying, you've been going through hell, keep going. And so that's my whole philosophy on everything that I do, everything that I touch.
Nah, for sure, man. And you said challenge the challenge. That's what you said, right? Challenge the challenge. I like that, dog, because like you said, like you could have ran, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to the young adults that are listening, man, just people in general, like we're gonna be met with challenges, but challenge the challenge. The challenge that'll challenge you, but how about you stand up to the challenge and challenge it? And I had similar stories like that playing ball, man. I remember it must be some water down there in the crib that it was built a certain way. But make a long story short, man, we had just won back-to-back championships when I was in the arena league. And so I was the middle guy. So that's like the hardest position on defense. And it was like the quarterback of the defense. So I'm like, Coach, we just won championship back-to-back years. And it was almost equivalent to this. I'm not saying this is me, but I'm just giving you an example. So my coach, say he had Peyton Manning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he brought Tom Brady on the team,
mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
that was what it was equivalent in the league. So I'm
Yeah.
like number one in the, you know what I'm saying? Say I was number two in the league. He bought a legend, future Hall of Famer. I'm like, what in the world? Like, coach, you got me. I'm
Right.
talking about the boy hit me up like, hey man, I just want to let you know I'm coming to the team. I like, all right. And then by the end of the year, I'm the only one on the team. By the end of camp, I was the only
Yes,
one. I was on
sir.
the team. You know
Yes,
what I'm saying?
sir.
So
Yes,
I didn't
sir.
run from the challenge, but I
Mm-hmm.
challenged the challenge, like you said though, bro.
Yes, sir.
But hey, yeah, no, I gotta use that challenge the challenge, dog.
Challenge
Now
the
I
challenge.
want to segue, man, to you know your author. I can hear your writing skills and how you talk, man. Just your vernacular, your you know what I'm saying, your vocab is crazy. You know what I'm saying, and crazy in a good
Appreciate it,
way.
man. Appreciate it,
So I
man.
can see the author in you, man. So you're an author, man. Wrote 2 books, Leverage, and you wrote The Game That Mirrors Life, man. Tell us about the books, man. What inspired you? And what's the message, overall theme?
All right. So again, like I've been had the rhetorical skills. They've been there. It was just a matter of me fine tuning them or not. But for me, like whenever I struggled with basketball, writing was always there to pick me back up.
Mm,
But when basketball was good, I would neglect it. But
okay.
I always come back because
Yeah.
it was a perennial cycle. You know what I mean? And so post graduation, like I graduated from Lamar, and I went through an identity crisis. I went through a great depression because at the end of the day, as an athlete, you invest so much time and so much
Mhm.
energy into becoming, this basketball player and, this top tier athlete. People were telling me, oh, you going pro, you going overseas, you going, da 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 da. And so when it didn't happen, I kind of, I went in a sunken place, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And again, writing was there. Writing was the way that I emptied my thoughts. Writing was the way that
Mhm.
I was able to cope with that situation because at the
Yeah.
end, athletes that a lot of athletes don't know how to handle that, man. They don't know how to, release everything that they're, suppressing in that regard
Yeah.
and just the regret. That's what I was experiencing. I was experiencing a lot of regret, man. And I remember reading this daily devotional. This was heavy. Like I live with this like every day. At the end of your career marks the beginning of your purpose.
Mm.
And so I was because my coach gave me he gave me this daily devotional, man. I'm flipping
Yeah.
through it and I underlined it. I lost the I can't. I'm so mad I can't even find the
Yeah.
devotional
Yeah.
no more.
Yeah.
But that stuck with me. And so I underlined that and that's kind of like been a cornerstone of everything that I've done outside of college. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I'm no longer that athlete. I'm no longer receiving the perks of being an athlete. People don't,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
the
For
thing.
sure.
As when you're an athlete, when you're inside the parameters of the school and stuff like that, you think that you're gonna be treated that way forever. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
once it's over, you hit that real world, you back at the bottom of the totem pole. You got to work your way back up to the top. You got to find identity somewhere else. And
Yeah.
that's why it's important that if, you put your identity in basketball or football or whatever sport you choose, you can possibly be setting yourself up for destruction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, a sport shouldn't be your identity. It's your ability. It's something that you're capable of doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's something that, that you can use as a vehicle to develop a platform. We see that nowadays, you know what I mean? But it shouldn't be your identity. It should be what you do, not who you are. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
so you know, I hit rock bottom, but I began to journal. I began to transcribe everything that I was feeling, and I put that into a poetry book called Leverage, which compelling people to engage in that quantum shift or the quantum leap. And so that was just spilling everything that I was dealing with, man. And right now, that's like my magnum opus because it got to believe if you look at the book, it got a lot of errors, a lot of grammatical errors and things of that nature, but it's raw, it's authentic, and when people
Yeah.
they read it, it jump out at them, they feel it, it resonates with them because no matter your age, your ethnic group, or your background, you have dealt with a lot of these instances before, you know what I mean?
For
And
sure.
so when I did that, I self published it. I did everything myself, and so that's the thing too. With my kids in high school, that's gonna be my goal. I'm gonna try to help them become self published authors, right?
Hey.
And so
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna work towards. But I self published it. I ain't put no money into it. I had my brother do the cover art, and I had my friend girl. like kind of, edit as best as she could, and I dropped it, and
Yeah.
people, were reading it, my close friends, and they like, man, this is amazing. And that was the first time that I was really like open with my rhetorical skills, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
at the age
Yeah.
that I was and stuff like that. So people were responding well, man, and I was like, okay, cool. Like I got something here. And so I was like, you know what? I was subbing at the time. And on my lunch break, I said, people responding to this well. Let me transcribe like something that I'm really passionate about.
Yeah.
Let me transcribe every emotion, every experience that I dealt with in the game of basketball, so I can help these young athletes, so they can understand what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure.
And I tell them in the book, my timing, your timing doesn't have to be my time. If I knew the things that I know now, coming in, I'll be in I would be in a totally different
Yeah. Yeah.
stratosphere.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
so that's why I'm doing it. So just heed the message, right? Heed the message, please. And so, now I talk about a lot of personal experiences, like in that game, in the game, within the game. Like for instance, I was telling about being a leader, how you can lead from the bench. And I gave her an example of that. I had an Australian native teammate, and Matt Hancock, I remember, like, he did everything right, but he just wasn't he didn't have, that skill, that grit, like, you know what I mean. But he
Yeah.
worked hard. Had a great GPA, was a great person. We developed a deep reverence for him because of what he did on a daily
Man. Yeah.
basis. You know what I mean? But again, he just wasn't that person. He wasn't that go-to guy. He wasn't that guy that could get it done on the floor, for us like that. But we all had a deep reverence for him. And when he said something, because of how he carried himself, we listened. And so in that section of my book, I said, hey, man, you can lead from the bench. You can lead. Everybody on that team is a valuable asset. That's why they're here. You know what I mean? And so nobody is, looked down upon. Nobody is ridiculed. None of that. You know what I mean? And so that was one of the first lessons that I learned. Just because I thought, man, if you ain't that guy, you can't tell me nothing. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You can't know. Like if I don't want to be you, if you know what I'm saying, you don't have something that I want, I ain't listening to you, man.
Yeah.
But just seeing, how and he was rich. He was a rich guy, so he ain't have no worries on him,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
again, that showed his character. That showed who he was innately. You know what I
Humility
mean?
with
You,
dignity. Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so, man, like only to be honest, I don't even think he know that I wrote about him in that book like that. But
Yeah.
it was crazy because that was like one of the first context shifts that I received, and that was one of the biggest lessons I probably learned and that I talk about in my book.
Gotcha, man. So what can people go buy your books, man? Where can
They,
they
they
find you?
they can grab it from Amazon, man. Go on Amazon, type in Marcus Owens, again, that mirrors life, or Marcus Owens, leverage. And so for me, man, that I put my heart and soul in those projects, man. That was something that they're dear to me, because they're who I am. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
the people that read it, they resonate with it, they understand it, and they know who I am innately. And so I think it's dope, man. It's great. Even teachers are being like my colleagues. Hey, yo, Arthur, really? I'm like, yeah, it's I did it, and I did it so easily. So it's like it's nothing. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's a big deal, and so that's why I was like, I'm gonna get my kids. And it's crazy because I don't know if you remember Miss Clark. You probably went out there with Miss Clark, but
Miss
she
Clark. She
yeah
sounds familiar though.
yeah, she was a teacher, Miss Clark, but
Okay.
she actually came to me today and asked me if I could lead like this group is called like MTL or something like that, like a
Okay.
leadership group. Like,
Yeah.
it's supplemental pay and stuff like that. That she kind of
Yeah.
broke it down to me, and she was like, "Hey, I want you to lead with your books and stuff like, because I heard your author's going around.
Mhm.
Everybody, all the teachers are talking about it and
Hey.
things of that nature." And I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Like, it's just an hour out of the day,
Yeah. Extra
cool.
pay.
One day a week, that's perfect." And I said,
Yeah.
you know what? Because I already had a vision of, you know what? I want to help my kids become self-published authors. That's one of my main goals, as an educator. And I want to do that. I want to walk them through the whole process. The whole
Hmm.
writing process, the whole self-publishing process.
Yeah.
That's that's what I want to do, and that I get excited talking about that because I know
Yeah.
it's gonna be a big deal. That's something that first of all that they can yield profit from
Forever.
into forever.
While they
You know what I
sleep.
mean? You
Yeah.
know, and you can say I did this when I was 16, 17. You
Mhm.
know, and so that's my thing, man. That's my goal to have all those kids that's a part of that to be self-published authors, and people gonna look at them like my colleagues look at me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with it.
Dog, I'm over here like getting chills. I'm listening to you, bruh. And it's so eerie because I see your journey. I see myself in
Yeah.
you. And it's like you just doing you. You know what I'm saying? You walking in purpose.
Mhm.
And the people around you are blown away by who you are, what you do.
Mhm.
Opportunities gonna come. You're gonna be presenting at PDs at your school. You're gonna be all in the county. And I say that because I see it with myself. And
Mhm.
so though and especially in our community, we see books, but we don't see us on the books. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm.
And so like my mother-in-law, she just published her book. And so my kids, they look at
Okay.
me like, hey, that's grandma and granddad. Like, yeah, that's grandma. That's grandma on there, right?
Yes,
And
sir. Yes,
so
sir.
it blows their mind. But
Mhm.
at 4 and at 2, they know they could be authors, right?
Mhm.
And me and my wife, we got our book coming out as well. So it's like to see that people even older than you can be like, man, I seen
Right.
Marcus. He dropped the book, man. Hey, could you show me the process, how to do that? And then also, man, just I'm telling you, people look at like because celebrity is relative. You could be a
Mhm.
celebrity. Like when you was at Lamar, you was a celebrity to them people. When
Mhm.
I was at Arizona Rattlers, hey, them little kids, I'm select. So, but when people see you, they in awe, bro, because you in purpose. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And be a light to them because when I say them kids going home telling their parents, hey, man, I ain't never seen nobody like Mr. Marcus before. Like, hey, the man didn't publish books. This did it. Like, it's, and I'm saying this, bro, because I see it with myself. Like even tomorrow, I'm blessed to go present in front of the whole school because I presented at the district PD. My
Mhm.
teachers came, my coworkers came back and was telling my principal, "Hey, look, man, you got to get Jeremy." So when
That's
you
dope,
telling me
man.
that, that's
That's
how your
dope.
coworkers is. No, keep doing what you're doing, bruh. You in purpose, bruh.
For
And that
sure.
program you doing, when you start, when them kids start dropping their books, that ain't just gonna be in Deerfield. It ain't just gonna be Broward County. It's gonna be statewide, nationwide, worldwide. Hey, Marcus Owens, man, he got a program. Man, he helped self, kids self.
Yeah.
Bruh,
Yeah.
it's, and I know you got a vision for that because you're visionary. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
For
So
sure. For
so
sure.
definitely, hey, definitely keep doing that, man. And so I know we, wrapping up, kind of got about like 9 minutes, bro. But uh, you got a podcast, man. Comeback is. Tell me if I'm saying this right. Comeback's vision. Did I
Comeback
say that?
business. Yeah.
Comeback
Yeah.
vision. What is that? Talk to me. What?
And,
Now I know it's a
and
podcast, but what is comeback's vision?
right. And so I'm gonna talk about the name, like, cause um, when I graduated, my first full time job was I was a utility service person, a service
Okay.
worker. I used to like the hydrants. I used to put them in the ground. Like people don't know, man. Hydrants go like 8 feet down,
Wow.
and you got water mains that got so much water pressure that feed these hydrants, and then the water mains go into water service lines, and that's how you get water in your house. So I did that.
Yeah.
Upon me doing, I used to drive like the big trucks, and they had convex mirrors. You know what I mean? And so with the convex mirrors, like they like the circle mirrors, right? And so
Yeah.
you look at it, and it gives you vision in that regard. And so, like I said, I was in a place, man, and I wasn't happy with the job. I feel like we was getting overworked and underpaid, and so that kind of drove me to kind of take on like content and to again rely on my rhetorical skills.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Whenever I'm faced with adversity, I'm relying on the rhetorical skills, like and so that's my thing, right? I'm just looking at how I can escape this, mentally,
Yeah.
right, before I can physically. And so that's how I came up with the name. I was like, convex vision. And this is something that, people don't have, people don't know about. This name probably won't be emulated because, people ain't really thinking about that. And they probably, they're probably like, hey, what's up with the name? Like, but again, vision, that's what, and I call myself the ultimate visionary. And so for me, I think I have the gift to see things in people before they culminate, before they get to this space to
Mm.
where when everybody can see me, when it's popular, I can see things, rear its head before it get to that point. And
Yeah.
that's why I move the way that I move, because a lot of the things that I do, a lot of things that I aspire to do, I see it in rare form. I see it in the light that many people don't see it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, people can say, oh, you here with me, and that you here with, like, you're here with the rest of us, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I'm here. This is a part of the process. This is a part of the journey. But, we probably we probably doing the same thing, but we ain't doing the same thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Hey.
And so,
Hey, I feel you though. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's my thing. But yeah, man, like, just seeing things before they get to that point. I think that's one of my gifts. And just willing to put that work in, the willingness to want to put that work in, and to get in that position. But as far as my podcast, and that's the thing, bro. I'm glad you kind of invited me on this, because that kind of lit that kind of reignited that fire for me to kind of get back into content creation as well, because I kind of took like a break, man. But
It's all good though. We all get breaks, bro. You
for
know what I'm
sure, for
saying?
sure,
Doing different things. So that's all good with that too. We need that time.
for sure, for sure. But convex visions was something that I created, man, and I really did it to establish a network of mentors. That was my sole focus, like, to learn as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when I used to reach out to people, hey man, look, I got this podcast. I want to learn from you.
Yeah.
That's how I approach them.
Yeah.
I want to learn. I want to pick your brain. And that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like, you give people that comment, like, I got something this person won't. And so more so than likely, like, they're more than willing to come in and do that. People are willing to teach, man. People are willing to give off advice. You just gotta ask. And
Yeah.
so I used to reach out to people, man, like, professional hoopers, like real estate agents, like things of that nature. You know what I mean? Hey, I want to learn from you. And when I used to be interviewed, I used to have my notepad and everything out, writing notes as they were
Yeah.
speaking, trying to get everything that they were saying, down. And that was my main focus. And even like right now, what I do, I have, a lot of people don't even know that I do it, but I created this digital newspaper called Browers Untold, which highlights creators, business owners, and athletes of Broward County, and it kind
Yeah.
of highlights their story behind their story. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? What people don't know, like, because we got a lot of talented personnel down here that people may have forgotten about. And so when I write these newspaper articles on them, people are like, hey, you know what I'm saying? And it resonates with them, because this is things that these people done did. You know what I'm saying? And they was in this light of where people had a deep reverence for them, but people may have
Yeah.
forgotten. You know what I mean? And so that's my thing, man. Broward Untold. Again, man, I kind of took a break on that too, but I got to scale it back up, because people responded to that well, man.
Yeah.
Like, people want to talk about themselves. People like seeing articles written about them.
For sure.
People like seeing their family members like that. So that's my thing. Doing that, and materializing it too. So actually getting papers that I can kind of give to people and stuff like that. So that's my, like, I got so much stuff that I want to do that I started that I didn't finish. And
Yeah.
so, man, that's my focus, man, to kind of get into something, to walk into something, and to give it a chance to grow. So
Nah, and the thing is, man, everything you're saying, it got a theme, right?
mm-hmm,
Is using your words, your speaking skills, how you articulate yourself, your writing skills, and it just goes to show, like, part of what your purpose is. I'm kind
mm-hmm,
of like, I am not telling you what your purpose. I'm just listening to you, and everything you saying, it deals with writing, it deals with speaking, it deals with speaking life, having a vision.
mm-hmm,
And so
mm-hmm,
that lets you know, if you're doing something of that nature with your podcast, Broward's Untold, you teaching, you've been all of that is aligned, bro, and
yeah,
that's powerful, because so many young adults, they're looking for, they got jobs, but they're looking, they might not be happy because they're not in purpose.
mm-hmm,
You in purpose, the money gonna come,
mm-hmm,
right? You know what I'm saying? I
mm-hmm,
might be doing something while I'm in purpose and not making a lot, but hey, the money gonna come, man. And I can say that because, no, I'm not financially where I want to be. You get what I'm saying? But I know I went where I was,
mm-hmm,
and I was in purpose, not making a lot of money, and I'm in purpose now, making more money.
mm-hmm.
So man, keep doing what you're doing, bro. I definitely don't want to, you know what I'm saying, take up your whole night, man. But I do allow my guests to you know, if you caught the episode before, man, I allow my guests to ask me one question. You know what I'm saying? It could be about what we talking about. It could be about anything, man. But I spend the whole hour interviewing you. Now you get
Yeah,
the opportunity to, you know what I'm saying, to ask me a question, man.
for
So go
sure.
ahead, dog.
That's the thing though, JK, man. Like when I was at DIF, I think it was like my senior year, man.
Yeah.
And I think you were getting ready for the combine. I think if
Was
I'm
that like
not mistaken,
2011?
I
2011?
think
Oh,
I
y'all
think
came back and
yeah.
trained.
You
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you was in there every day. You was in there every day training. You was
Yeah.
in there every day training. And I ain't saying that to you, but again, I see things and I take it for what it is. You know,
Yeah.
and I saw, you know, how mission oriented you were. You know what I'm saying? I seen that. And I think Coach Smith was saying, hey man, like he preparing, he trying to make
Oh, yeah,
that
Coach
jump.
Smith. Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah. And I seen it again, like I have a deep reverence for that, bro. And like I said, I never told you that, but it's a lot of things that people see us do. They may not tell us, but they notate it. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And so now it's full circle. Now I'm telling you that now.
yeah.
You know,
Hey, a lot of, and what they say, most things is a caught, not taught. So
for sure.
I'm not knowing that y'all looking at me
Mm-hmm.
and y'all learning while y'all watching and not knowing, shoot, 10, 12 years later, we going to be having a conversation. So
Exactly, bro.
that's real though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so just that, man. Even my boy Torn, man, he was talking highly of it, man. Like,
Yeah, my
and
dog. Hey, that's my
yeah,
dog. He the godfather of my son.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, from where I'm from, great dude, man. Like, you
Yeah.
know, was able to decode that matrix. You know, his family stayed right next door to my family for
Yeah.
years, and
Yeah.
years and years and years. And so, man, great dude, man. As far as for you, like I feel like you're definitely in the realm that I want to be in. You know what I mean? And like you say, speaking at PDs and things of that nature, I definitely see that for myself moving forward. And I appreciate you reassuring me that that's a possibility. You know what I mean? And so, just my question to you is just, well, it's not really. I don't really have a question, man. I just wanted to kind of, you know, tell you that I see you. You know, I for sure see even on here, bro. Like
Yeah.
the passion, bro. Like I see it when you speak. You post like snippets of like speaking engagements that you do, like when you speak to football teams or when you do like, you know, you present to teachers and things of that nature. I see the passion, and that's the thing. Like I see people, you know, and so you know, as far as like, so you are a teacher right now, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
You are a
teach
teacher.
so. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'm a
So
teacher. I teach lifetime wellness, 9th grade through 12th.
see that's dope, and that's you, bro. That's you. And so
Yeah.
like before I was an actual teacher, I was a educator for the Memorial Healthcare System. I used to go into the school and deliver like a healthcare curriculum. And
Okay.
one school that I went to had a life skills course, and you know she was teaching kids, you know, life and how to sign up for college and you know
Yeah.
developing the passions and da da da. And I was like, man, that's what I opted for. Like before I got into you know
Yeah.
teaching and intensive reading and things of that nature, I didn't fall through, but you know that's why I'm doing it. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, teaching life skills and incorporating that with the curriculum, because at the end of the day, that's how we maximize the learning experience of our kids, man.
For
Just
sure.
you know, kind of doing that. And so
Yeah.
that's my thing. But yeah, man, like I said, I see you, bro. I see you, and I see you know how assertive you are. I see the you know how sure you are about what you're doing, and the passion, and you know just how you resonate with people. And so just keep doing that, bro. And I really appreciate you kind of getting me out of the funk, man, and getting me back on what the playing field that I need to be on, man. You know,
Nah, for
so
sure, man. Nah, you know what I'm saying? Close it out with this, man. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? So, if you saying you could see it, and I know you're a visionary, the ultimate
come
visionary.
on.
You get
Come
what I'm
on now.
saying? Hey,
Come on
so I
now.
know, hey, I don't take those words lightly coming from
Come
you,
on
bro.
now.
But yeah, man, just, I appreciate it, man. The one thing I say at the end, I say, wake up, striving to win on purpose, be intentional about winning, right? Because that's what I'm striving to do. I'm striving
Yeah.
to win, whatever it is, my marriage, parenthood. Man, I was talking to my son the other day, real quick, and I was like, man, my wife, she telling me stories about him at school. So I'm
Mhm.
like, man, son, why you don't be telling me stories? You know what I'm saying? So he was like,
Yeah.
man, I be feeling like, you got to get ready to go to work. You ain't got time. You got to get ready. And so when he told me
Yeah.
that, I'm like, whoa. I was like, oh, okay, then I was like, all right, I gotta get better. So now I'm like, hey, bro, come tell me about your day. Like, what's going on? So when I'm trying to win, like, I don't just want to say, Lord, help me be a good father. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I pray that, but I gotta go be intentional
Yeah.
about going to be a good father. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, man, just everything I'm doing, man, I'm just striving to be intentional. I had, like you said, the identity crisis. I had to go through that. I had to realize that I do because of who I am. I'm not what I do, right?
Mm.
So out of my passion for sports is why I played football. But when I couldn't play football no more, out of my passion for sports is why I called football games. Or
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? So out of that passion is why I played. But when I couldn't play no more, the passion didn't leave. I just couldn't play no more. So I had to go now transition that passion to someone else, right? So, man, like I said, man, I see what you're doing. I see myself in you so much, especially going back to in the school systems. And even when you say, man, when people might say, but you right here with us. Like my physical body is. But
Yeah.
if y'all knew what my
Yeah.
hey, if
Yeah.
y'all knew what
You
my
feel me?
mind at,
You feel me?
boy, I'm having interviews. I'm practicing my interviews with who I believe I'm about to be interviewed by. You know what I'm
Man.
saying? That's the type of like being a visionary. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I appreciate everything. I definitely appreciate you coming on, man. I definitely want to give you the last words. Man, and it, let people know where they can follow you, where they can get your books, your podcast, Untold Story.
Yeah. Broward
Broward,
Untold.
Broward
Broward
Untold
Untold.
Story.
Yeah.
Man, everything. Show them let them know where they can find you. And then, man, just man, give some advice to the young adults, man, that's trying to find or create their own life vision, man. And we'll end it with that.
All right. And just to kind of jumpstart things, for in regards to you, man, it's the same game but different arena. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That you playing the same game. You playing, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so the same lessons, the same, work ethic that it took is just it's an easy
Sure.
transition, and that's why you're not really taking the hit in that regard when you're doing what you're doing. But as far as like the youngest, man, um, just stay focused. There's a lot of like in this time in this day and age, there's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of people who gonna tell you that you can't do something, and don't take that personally. You know what I'm saying? Understand that that's who they are as individuals, and they're trying to project what they can't do onto you. And we're gonna have people that's gonna do that. And so again, take it for who they are. You know what I'm saying? Don't take it personal. You know, because at the end of the day, it's a reflection of how they see themselves.
Yeah.
A lot of people are scared to chase their goals. A lot of people are scared to go after their dreams. A lot of people are worried about what other people are saying about them, and they're not taking initiative and taking that step. And so if you're one of those individuals who are focused on the mission, who are goal oriented, who's a visionary, walk in that. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid, don't be opposed, don't be hesitant, don't be reluctant to go and pursue that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because at the end of the day, when you walk in that and they rear its head and you culminate, they're gonna be like, dang, like, I seen it. And in my course, man, I was speaking well, I was watching this TED Talk video, and we're talking about incorporating like passions with the curriculum, right? So we're kind of dismantling the old industrial
Yeah.
manufacturing model,
Education.
and,
Yeah.
yeah, and we're going to the organic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's how life is. Life is not linear; it's organic. And so we
Mm-hmm.
want to stay away from standardization and all that. And so it was this one kid. Well, he's not a kid now; he's a firefighter now. But he told the teacher like, "Hey, like I want to be a firefighter," and the teacher told him like, "Nah, man, you want to go to college, you want to pursue something that's meaningful. Like you want to go, do this and this
Yeah.
and this, And so life is so crazy, man, because that firefighter ended up saving his life. That kid that he
Mm-hmm.
told that he shouldn't be
Yeah.
a firefighter ended up saving his life. And so had that kid listened to him, he probably would have been dead. So
Mm-hmm.
the same kid that you talked down on and told him not to pursue that, you saved your life in that. And that was intentional. That was God, man. And so now that experience is imparted to people like us to reassure us and to show us, hey, look, don't do these to these kids, right?
Yeah.
Take it for, you know what I'm saying? Like help aid them in that, nurture that, you know what I mean? And don't strip them of that creativity and that imagination. You know what I mean? You want to build on that. And so that's what I want to leave y'all with, man. I appreciate you, bro. For sure.
Hey,
Salute.
hey. No problem, dog. Hey, no problem. Hey, anytime, man. I know this is our first time really chopping it up, meeting in person, not well, visually in person. But
Hmm.
yeah, man. Hey, we got each other's number, man. If I need you, definitely, I know. Hit you up. Likewise, man. Likewise,
For
man.
sure,
Man,
I'm
you
gonna
hit
hit
me.
you up.
Make sure I chop up the video, get everything, get it posted, and you can be able to use it how you need to, man. And hey. Thank y'all. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you coming
Man, no
on, man.
problem, bro.
Hey, God bless. Good luck with everything that you're doing. Man, I know you this is only the beginning for you, man.
For
You
sure,
ain't
for
even
sure.
scratching the surface of what you're gonna do and what you're gonna beat out. Hey, everybody that tuned in, I appreciate you, man. Y'all continue to wake up, striving to win on purpose, be intentional about winning. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jeremy Kellem. Go follow my podcast on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. All right, and man, y'all continue to have a blessed day and have a blessed weekend, man. Holiday weekend as well, man. So, hey, appreciate you, dog.
Man, no problem, bro.
All right, now have a blessed day, dog.